you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of Racers Elite and the Family Traditions RV Rentals Fixed Truck Series. Tonight, the quest for a championship begins as the chase gets rolling from a new look Iowa Speedway here at iRacing with tonight's coverage on Maconi Entertainment. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring action from all types of racing, including this series, FLCC, and many more. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Shelton Prince. Alongside me is Dylan Coyle. Christian Hill is our producer for this evening's coverage. Tonight, the quest for a championship begins. 12 drivers, 4 races, only 1 chance to win a championship essentially, Dylan. Tonight, you have to be able to be consistent a part of the schedule.
Honestly, I absolutely love the idea of just a 4-race chase, if you will. I always, obviously I've talked about it, this relative disdain for the NASCAR playoff system, having a 4-race chase in this 12-car field. We know who the drivers are to beat, right? We have the Andrew Tefts, we have the Troy Thomases of this series that we know are going to be fighting up front every single race. The cool thing, though, is that they have been reset, right? They all have to get back into the business of running good races, finishing the races, and because there is a smaller field that will be participating in these races, as you look at the point standings right now, it's going to be harder for somebody like Ecker, like Chavez, pretty much everybody who is not in the top 3 to make up the points required to fight against the regular season champion in Andrew Teft, which, as a person who appreciates this points format, I'm cool with, right? Like, it's a cool way to crown a champion. A little bit of a reset, but not entirely. Teft, Thomas, Dunaway, still the 3 to beat right now.
They're going to have the best opportunities for the championship with the points tallies, absolutely. It's going to be a matter, though, of can they keep their trucks clean throughout the 4 races and make sure they don't fall behind the 8 ball. There's so much that could happen in the course of just a few races, absolutely here. By the way, these drivers are in the midst of the qualifying session right now in the session. These drivers are running 22, 23 second lap times. It is a night race here at Iowa. This racetrack used to be top dominant before the updates. This track around since 2005. Recently, though, get an iRacing update. Now it's the bottom. That is the big preference because that's where the new pavement is.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be quite honest with you, here's another little bit of disdain that I've got for this race. Wow, I'm really negative so far to start this broadcast. I don't love the fact that they did a partial repave. I am happy that it's quickly wearing. I would have loved to see the Cup cars, the trucks, the Xfinity Series, all here in this modern setting for the track without that extra additional patch that has been reworked into the turns on both ends. Nonetheless, I still think Iowa has the potential, especially with the trucks, to provide some really good action, some really good racing, and we've seen this series in particular be able to race really well as we see the Rusty Wallace Rock out there. One of the weirdest little things outside of a track. Have you ever been there, JP?
I've not even been close to the state of Iowa, to be honest with you.
Corn.
Yes, I know this track
Corn.
is surrounded by corn.
Indeed it is. And a rock with Rusty Wallace on there. But, like you said, we're under the lights. And now we're about to talk about the starting lineup.
Yes, indeed. Drivers transitioning to tonight's action. 140 laps your race distance tonight here from Iowa Speedway. Take a look at how things look for your grid. Riley Frost, who missed the cut on making enough starts to make the playoffs, starts off this chase with the pole. Andrew Teft will start in second spot, doing a 10th offset pole. Brennan Sanfilippo got a win to get himself in position here. He'll start in third. Troy Thomas is in the fourth spot. You're 2/10ths back. Blair Hollyman will start in fifth with Truth Hoke in the sixth position. Row number 4, Sean Dunaway starts off in seventh. He's been good on the long run at the short tracks recently. Barry Nelson is next to him. And rounding your top 10, Alex Teft yet again. And Rob Yost Jr., who was able to get the bottom line rolling at New Hampshire, will start inside said top 10, Dylan.
Alex Gates in that 77 truck will start in 11th, just under half a second behind the pole time. Kirby Wayne Scott in 12th alongside with Curtis Ecker in P13. Jesse Fox in that 14th position, starting on the outside of row 7. Frank Chavez, Kyle Hess in row 8. Hess the first one without a qualifying time set tonight. Rowan Lloyd and Kensley Smith round out your 18 truck starting grid.
That's a look top to bottom at your running order here tonight in this one as we get set to go and get ready to look at your Maconi Setup Shop race analysis tonight again. Maconi Setup Shop providing some of the setups when it comes to this series. As just said for these drivers, we will have 140 laps on the distance. 4 tire sets available in the pits. Fuel limit 65% as well though. So either way, these drivers will have to pit once, if not twice here, because that reduced fuel number. And that's going to mean having to strategize fairly well here at a track where you can normally go 90 laps at a full tank. Going to be pushing it with the distance here, depending on what happens here, Dylan.
Yeah, 100%, and you know it's not going to be that much of wear on the tires. So, depending on how the rate of wear, I should say, are on these tires. Let me rephrase what I'm saying. There shouldn't be a maximum bit of wear. There still may be a lot of extra wear on these sets of Goodyear Eagles. However, because it's 70 degrees track temperature, it's going to be the minimal bit of wear that we would see at this track here tonight. Still might see a good bit of it, and I think it's going to be more of a fuel kind of concern than a tire concern when they start strategizing here, JP.
So it's going to be an interesting night here from Iowa to start off the chase, the quest for a championship, getting tonight on a fairly cool night here at Iowa. Happy to have you with us here at Maconi Entertainment for tonight's coverage of Racers Elite. Green flag is out. We're underway from Corn. Side by side for the race lead still. It will go to Frost to start things off tonight. But Hoke, once the driver's not giving up very early, you can see just how important it is to stick the white line and wrap the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like Hoke getting loose though, lucky to hold on to the truck.
Yeah, got quite loose this fast portion of the race. Low temperatures have that new asphalt patch. It should make for a very speedy lap here around Iowa. And indeed, best lap times already being set after lap 2. 23.524 is what we're seeing. That's really fast for a track that is just barely under a mile long.
Yeah, right now both of these drivers fighting hard, but Frost giving plenty of space. Teft gets the lead lap for the first time here. Still yet to find a way to clear on by yet. That's the thing. We've seen here many times over the years, the ability for drivers to go door to door, wheel to wheel like this for so long. Frost just threw it away with the bobble.
Oh man, a bobble from running that low line. Corner entry has to be a little bit high here at Iowa because you can carry so much momentum and speed. But as we say that, a fight for third. Blair Hollyman and Brandon Sanfilippo going door to door here into 3.
Yeah, some good battling going on across the field as Hollyman does take third spot in the backdrop. One of the Zuyos machines. Already a few laps into the action here. That's going to be the major thing. The longer these runs go here, Dylan, the harder it's going to be to make some of these passes. So you better be able to clear by while you can with some of these side-by-sides, or be able to try and pressurize mistakes like you're seeing up front.
Yeah, you know, this is a track where you can race side-by-side, but it's still not easy. It's not like New Hampshire, right, where running side-by-side there is almost, as we sometimes saw, a death sentence if you're on, say, the middle groove or the high line and you don't get a good runoff of the corner. Here, though, you can already see, because these trucks, I should say, don't develop that turbulent air from underneath and centrally, it's easier to follow in behind and run similar grooves. The one problem, though, with Iowa nowadays is just that asphalt patch makes it so important to try and hit your marks on that first or second line off the apex.
And right now, things are heating up for the race lead again, because Frost has found a way to the inside. You see it up the road right now. See things breaking up. Here we go. Teft, last time by, was a near 10th slower than Frost. So although the 96 is having the weeble wobbles off some of these corners, he is quicker. He clears to take back the lead.
All right, how about that? Now Andrew Teft looks to the high side, arcs in a little bit better, but didn't get the speed slowed down enough to go through the middle of that corner, glued to the apex. That allows Riley Frost to just move on a few more truck lengths ahead of the driver in second place.
Yeah, these two staying pretty close when they are single file at the very least. Keep in mind, there is someone quicker than the both of them a little bit. It is the 32 of Hoyman, who is right now taking his time to be able to make up some ground. Compare that the opposite direction, by the way. Sean Dunaway has lost 9 positions so far tonight. One of the drivers we've seen really good as of late on short tracks, lost tons of ground from the get-go from a slide a few laps ago, and is now amongst the back pack. So some drivers are doing well here, like you're seeing the leaders still on screen. Some of the drivers towards the rear have had some big slides and have lost 9 seconds in the course of 12 laps.
Yeah, and this track, remember, we're talking about the potential for higher tire wear than, or lesser tire wear than what we would see if this track was a race being run during daytime conditions. On lap 13 right now, we're already seeing lap times dropping around 3 to 4 tenths per lap, so it is something to keep in mind. Other drivers, such as, for example, Curtis Ecker, he's the driver last right now going into this chase format. I was just taking a quick peek at his lap times, and He's been very consistent with most of his lap times, right around 23.8, which is not fast compared to the leaders, but there is consistency and something to be said in tire life and making it last. Speaking about making those tires last, Andrew Teft, we've seen him drop back positions before and have speed later in a run. He just lost second place to Blair Hollyman. Looks back down the inside.
They're still battling on, in fact. Hoyman trying to squeeze down from the outside. Does clear, and yet again, going across the seams, causing drivers to just snap a little loose. Teft able to hold on through that last corner and be able to stick that truck. And this has to be a touch bit concerning here for Teft, the series leader in victories this campaign. He's had minimal incidents, but we've seen him slide back before as well in some of these races. Last time out, got an incident earlier, just couldn't get a chance to recover in New Hampshire. He still finished 6th, but it took a long time to get there.
Yeah, 100%. It does take a long time to get that wear up as well. So, so we're seeing, a little bit of a spin. Is that, oh my goodness, is that Dunaway?
This is what I was referring to, why Dunaway lost so much ground earlier a little bit. See, this is so easy to do. Just snap around, lose all your ground, and then you're lucky to hold on. He has rallied back to 11th so far.
All right, so here's the problem with that kind of mistake from Dunaway. If this race stays green the entire way, and there's, of course, a distinct possibility that it could, this is a detrimental moment for his championship hopes, right? He's one of the top 3 drivers heading into this 4-race chase. When we look at the numbers, Dunaway enters just 5 points back of Andrew Teft, so it's a clean slate. It's a great opportunity to try and win this championship. Well, you are running, well within the top 10, and that obviously is going to lead to a lot of potential points being left on the table. Long race, lots of action still to come.
Yeah, we're only 20 laps into the race, and right now Blair Hoyman is one of the fastest, if not is the fastest truck on the circuit. One-time winner this season. That win came at New Hampshire, in fact. And remember, he was able to copy his team boss's line, essentially. He was able to get the bottom line rolling, made things stick on the apron. Can't do the apron here, obviously, but he is managing the tires really well to be able to try and battle, and he's got a nice solid arc that's allowing him to gain ground in the corner exit.
I mean, you can run the apron, it's just not recommended.
Yeah, you might spin out if you hit the apron here.
Just
let's put it that way.
Yeah, just a tad, you know? And it's who said we can't do something, you know?
Yeah, it will have to be used for pit entry and exit, but it's not recommended during race speed conditions because, well, more drastically flatter. Frost loses the back end a touch. Does Hoyman go for the inside here? Not close enough to actually go for the lunge, but he is close enough to take the air off the spoiler now. Frost was able to keep the truck planted.
Man, that was a little bit squirrely right there. A bit hairy as Hollyman looks to go up high. Is going to get some momentum down this straightaway. Frost looked a little bit like he was going to block. Now they're side by side. Hollyman throws it in there. About a truck width between them. Still, they are not free from each other.
Hoyman going forward on the inside. Can he find a way to get by quickly? No, Frost doing a solid job defensively on the high side. 25 laps into the run, and neither side able to clear off by fully here with these runs, and this is the tough thing. Being able to clear takes a lot of time and a little bit of mistakes from your opponent. Frost doing a good job not sliding. Hoyman sliding more so.
Yeah, Hollyman is hurting his drive off a little bit more and hurting his tire longevity by not clearing the 96 and still pushing tight on exit. Took a little bit off the throttle right there on the exit of 2. That helped him get that truck rotated a little bit better. He's going to try and clear and slide up, and that's a perfect example of a good, well-timed slide job. Here's the switchback, though.
Again, swapping around. Hoyman gets the launch off the corner, clears on by. New race leader Blair Hoyman after Robbie Frost led 20, the first 26. Might have a repeat of last time out. How things are looking already here, just like that. Blair Hoyman, remember, had a deficit to close up of 12 points to get up to Andrew Teff to start off this season. Teff throughout the season scored 21 bonus points from his victories and from the other ways you can score points in said races here in the series.
Yeah, and you know, I kind of wanted to go back real quick, JP, to what we were just talking about before this broadcast or before the race even began. We were talking about that tire life, that fuel longevity. We're probably halfway through the fuel run right now. So I almost wonder if we are going to, because it's practically impossible to make it on a one-stop strategy. You got to make it into a two-stop strategy, especially with how this race is going. It has the potential to go green for the rest of the way. So if you have 140 laps in the race, wouldn't it be smart to cut it into thirds instead of trying to run till lap 60, till the fuel runs out? I wouldn't be shocked to see in, I don't know, 15 laps, a lot of the field to start coming down around lap 45 to 50 is the biggest pit window.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at that point. The fall off hasn't been that bad, actually.
No.
But it's still a spot where the fuel tank is iffy in the first place, just based on the fact it's 12 gallons rather than the full 20, 22 gallons or so. So it's such touch and go time for a lot of these drivers coming up here where they might be forced on the thirds in general.
Oh yeah, 1000%. You know, I feel like they're going to be forced into two-stop race, but I think thirds is just the better way to go about it, right? Like, even if the tire wear hasn't been all that bad, you're still looking at right now 8/10 loss over 34 laps, right? That just allows the opportunity for a little bit of variation in strategy where you don't feel like you're panicking too much. If somebody goes down to the pits, you won't lose too much time if you stay out and try a bigger overcut. But on the flip side, you're also opening yourself up for a harder try to get back that time that you've lost because of going on through the overcut and losing that 8/10 to a second plus advantage that you could have had if you also went with the undercut. So there are a few things to still kind of talk about and look at as this race continues on, and that scheme with Kyle Hess's name brings me back to my childhood.
It's taken a little bit of time for him to actually put the paint scheme on the truck. I don't think he's done the scheme last week.
A Hess truck.
Bad.
A Hess truck. Come on now.
It's very fitting. It has to be on the truck. It's
Man,
perfect.
I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, my grandmom for Christmas every year got me the Hess truck. Oh no! Into the wall.
They do a good job of marketing Hess, or at least used to. My question is, where is the nearest Hess station?
Honestly, I have no idea. I didn't even know it was really a station in real life. I feel like, anyone who has like a favorite gas station, which it can be, I don't, like for me, Wawa isn't a gas station, right? It's a convenience store. It's a convenience store. Like, I know it's got gas stations in it, but I'm from right outside Philly. You know, you gotta love Wawa, right? Go to Costco if you have a membership for cheaper gas. You know, go to Shell if you want to use their fuel rewards. You know, it's whatever. Was that an ad? No, it wasn't. But was it? I don't know.
Just checked as of near a decade ago, Hess no longer actually has gas stations. Apparently they're now all speedways. The convenience store side is a maybe, but Hess basically in the States no longer a thing, and it's been a talking point in other countries that Chevron was completing the purchase of the Hess Corporation. So it recently just went under the Chevron brand, whatever was left of Hess.
Thank you for this information. I didn't know I needed to know, but I did. I really did. And I appreciate it, JP. Thank you.
And whatever's left of the company is basically, yeah, a Chevron Hess merger is complete. Website is now shuttered. To confirm. So Kyle Hess continues to let the name live on. Pit window is open, by the way. It is earlier than 45. Robbie Frost from second just said he's coming down.
Beautiful. All right, so it is definitely a little bit earlier than I assumed, but I think this is a chance to try and leapfrog up into P1. He fell to around 1.2 seconds back by the time he made that call to come down pit road. If we're looking at right now 0.9 seconds of fall off, he'll be right behind Hollyman if Hollyman comes down this time. If he does not, then theoretically Frost should be in the provisional lead of this race. However, we'll have to fend off the fresher tires that we could see from Hollyman.
Keep an eye on how this works out for the 96 with their running being 9/10 of a second of fall off. Not as bad as in past years where it can reach 2 to 3 seconds, but it is still enough to, depending on where things cycle, gain a few seconds of Blair Hollyman, but have the opportunity for the 32 to respond on the racetrack. So there is still a lot in terms of strategy play here. The main hope for Riley Frost, though, is no caution, no caution. He's one lap down and is not in the lucky dog spot.
Okay, well, if he does end up not, I mean, he's 6 seconds back right now, 6.5 seconds back of Frank Chavez. So with fresh tires and the pace that we've seen, this should be able to be 4 laps time to catch up. And of course, you know, if Chavez decides to go down pit road, which I don't think so, I think he'll try for the overcut here, then it helps out Frost even more. On that lap, he caught up to around, well, in the last, you know, full lap, we're going to see another big chunk taken out of that advantage that Chavez had over Frost. By the way, we have a second taker down pit road. It's Kensley Smith.
You've been running in one of the mid to backpacks tonight. Kensley also picking up a black flag. So this is
under
not
green,
good.
no, not
yeah,
good.
That is going to be 2 to 3 laps here at Iowa, if the penalty is what I think it is.
Yeah, that is absolutely brutal. Probably some speeding penalty coming down pit road or commitment penalty.
I think it's a little bit of column A, column B. You see damage on the right front. Don't have a telestrator tonight to circle it. He hit the barrier.
Do you ever have your telestrator?
Unfortunately, I don't have it in my pocket, but I can tell you, Kensley Smith hit the wall and the yellow cone.
That is a rough go about it. Smith is, that is pretty much race over for that 15 truck. Nonetheless, as Smith comes out of the pits. Riley Frost now only 0.3 back of Frank Chavez in this danger zone, right? 4th and 96, where not only would you be a lap down, but you wouldn't even be the free pass if a caution came out. Frost has now gotten by Frank Chavez. Now it's just about trying to make up that 13-second difference to Kirby Wainscott. Or I'm sorry, not to Wainscott, but a smaller difference to Hollyman to get back onto the lead lap. Trying to see exactly where those two drivers are on the track right now, because again, this is a bit of a danger zone situation that that is currently kind of playing out in front of our eyes. The 32 is just under a second in front of the 98. There's still a relatively large gap to catch up to the lead or to the leader for Frost if this continues to be circled around with them still on track. I'm actually surprised that so many drivers are going with a little bit of a longer overcut than I thought.
Yeah, a lot longer. At this point, some of these drivers are setting up for a 50-100 end run. See how long some of these fuel tanks are able to stretch for the leaders in particular. Right now, still keep an eye on Barry Nelson on screen, by the way. And Nelson, amongst the drivers not in the postseason, was the first driver out from the chase for the championship for Greenhound Racing. Just trying to race for pride at this point, holding on to 7th on track in front of the 43, who was the second driver out. He has a separation of 14 points for the best of the rest award.
You see how much these trucks bounce around through this surface? Even though they've repaved that darker asphalt in the corners, heading into the corners and coming out of the corners onto the straightaways, this truck can be quite a nasty ride, especially right around this area right there. My goodness, I mean, truck suspension is definitely getting a little bit of work out, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, tons of work coming through for some of these drivers to be able to make sure their trucks handle, as we are having more pit stops. 55, 32, 83, all amongst those in. So Teft back to the lead. So it looks like some of these drivers might not be able to even make it as far as the halfway as we were expecting. Everybody else is coming on down. So everyone else might have been banking on the caution flag and hoping they weren't going to get pinned here. Now, this should all cycle to be equal.
It should cycle to be equal, but to be quite honest with you, Riley Frost should be the one that wins out big here because there was no caution. He's going to have the freshest tires for the longest amount of time with the way that he's separated out this pit cycle. He did go in 15 laps earlier than the rest of this group, which is honestly astonishing, right? That's a big difference in tire longevity. But when you do the math, right, it's a 140 lap race. You saw Frost come in on lap 42, 43, whatever you'd like to say, how it kind of works out. He then has to split it into around 48, 49 lap stints. These drivers went down to lap 57, let's say that, to pit. They can split it now into a 41, 40 lap stint each way. They lost a lot of time, though, by going these extra 15 laps that I think is going to be able to be taken advantage of by Riley Frost, who right now is the provisional leader of this race, as Alex Teft also goes down pit road. The only driver not to pit yet is Kirby Wainscott, the leader, who is 5.5 seconds in front of Frost, who is himself 3.5 seconds, or I should say 2.5 seconds in front of Blair Holliman.
So right now, everybody else just seeing where things cycle indeed. By the way, how things are looking, it's going to potentially see maybe Hess, Teft, Ecker, and Fox at the minimum lap. Barry Nelson has already fallen 2 laps down, just about in this pit window as well. how things have gone here tonight. Nelson is having issues down at the edge of the racetrack right now. And he is very slow because he nearly spun the truck out in front of a playoff / chase driver, Brandon Sanfilippo.
Oh boy. That's the worst thing to do. At this point, Nelson is just he's 2 laps down, right? He's, I think, coming down pit road. Is Nelson just parking it for the night? I'm not sure what this strategy call is.
Looks like he might be. Let's see how he handles this here as he ducks down pit road. Again, had just pit 4 laps ago and has already damaged the left side of his race truck here tonight, both on the front and the rear fenders. Here he is to the pit stall, ready to make the stop in, watching to see, does he jump out? No, he just takes the faster pair. So he just took the faster pair in the middle of the run, with Kirby Wainscott also coming down for the scheduled service. The max that can go is 63.
Something to consider here is that even though, you know, we were just focusing on Barry Nelson, now 3 laps down in this race, and also looking at Kirby Wainscott, who finally comes down pit road after 64 laps. So that was the maximum amount you could go and still, you know, have some fuel left in the tank. That's not the halfway point, which is why they always had to go for a 2-stop race. But we focused on Barry Nelson because there's only 18 drivers that were supposed to be in this race. 17 actually have taken the green flag. Because of that, each position, you know, is already worth a lot more spots for these chase drivers. An extra points for maybe somebody like Frank Chavez, who is still way back, 5 laps off of the lead or 2 laps. Oh no! How about a spin right there on the infield, right in front of Alex Teft? Who was that? It's the 8 of Curtis Ecker, last driver in the chase right now, and he goes down that access road. No caution still.
We stay green and could have changed a lot here. Ecker, one of the drivers with 5 top 10s in his starts this season, and a massive wiggle.
My gosh.
How in the world did Alex Teft miss the contact? I'm not sure. That was close to a trick or caution too.
I wouldn't even just say that, JP. Just an unbelievable job from the 8 to not take any damage. Like, Ecker should have been into that outside wall and race almost over. Of course, you get that faster pair. Instead, he just goes down that access road, loses some time, but doesn't lose any fenders. That was some impressive impressive bit of driving to at least save the vehicle and live on another lap.
Yep, right now, Ecker, just trying to hang on here, is amongst the drivers. Indeed, now a lap down on those tires. The gap for the race lead has settled down to 3.3 seconds for now, by the way, for Frost, although it is shrinking pretty quickly. Last corner, it went down 3/4. Hollyman is knocking down the time in bunches with 12 lap pressure tires.
And this isn't shocking, but at the same time, I'll be quite honest with you, JP. Like, we talked about it a number of laps ago, maybe 15 laps ago, the difference between Hollyman and Frost, and it was 2.5 seconds. It hasn't come down that much.
Yeah, it hasn't, but there's still... I still think Hollyman's going to get there in the next couple laps here. It's going to be difficult to stop with that big of a tire split here. If it was the 2 to 3 second fall off where you have to reel in 12 seconds, it'd be one thing. But for Frost, this is his play here to have any chance at the 32 with what the 32's done long run. Here in Sim, should say, here tonight.
So, It's also interesting because if this does stay green the rest of the way, I still think Frost is in the best possible situation compared to everybody else, because all these drivers are getting ready to prep for, their final pit stop in the next, somewhere like 25 laps or so. They're still probably 2 laps away from being able to just say pit right now and make it the rest of the way on fuel. So that the window doesn't open then. It just, it's theoretically possible, but it would be a dumb move strategically to do it, right when you're able to make it to the end. That's besides the point. The point is, Frost opened himself up to a lot more opportunities with that earlier pit stop, the more even pit stop with the remainder of the race. Now, he still will have to go more laps each stint, but he gained so much time that he would have had otherwise, or wouldn't have had otherwise, because of stopping 15 laps earlier than everybody else in that lead group. Oh, way up the track, though. That's not going to help his timing of staying in front of Hollyman.
By the way, Troy Thomas just let Rob Yost have a spot. This was for 8th position, by the way. Troy Thomas, 4 lap holder tires, 4/10 slower last time by the stripe. So some of these drivers giving a fair bit of sportsmanship with some of these moves. Rob Yost, remember, wants drivers battling for a championship. Troy Thomas actually was the 2nd seed coming into tonight with his 2 wins. And the fact that he led a fair bit in some of the races, he's right now a ways farther back than you would expect him to be a 2 seed. He was only 4 points back at Teft coming in.
Yeah, and with 2 of the tracks being short tracks, this being the faster of the 2 compared to 5 flags to end the season, and 2 mile-and-a-half circuits coming up, Troy Thomas is not really going to see this style of racing action happening here for the rest of the season, where it's at like moderately banked, longer short track, if you will. 5 flags is very different. Nonetheless, you need to perform at all 4 races to give yourself a shot of winning the title, especially when we talk about Andrew Teft, right? 4 points up coming into this race. A 3rd place finish does him a lot of good, especially when Troy Thomas, is running back in 9th. That's a 6-point swing right there. Gives him a 10-point advantage over, was that smoke in the front stretch? You see that?
Not sure where that would have came from. No one really went for a slide. So Troy Thomas is sliding there, though, on the back straightaway, but no smoke from what I can see. So everyone's right now okay. Although the battle for the race lead, as you would expect by this point, has gone down.
Yeah, 100%. It's come down to just this advantage, as you see in your screens right now. So Frost right now is going to try his best to hold off the run from Hollyman, but such a good drive through the corner and just sent it down the inside. It's that decisiveness that wins you a championship, that wins you a race, and he slides. He has to counter steer a little bit. Can't get the move done. Frost is going to be really tough to pass, even on the inside.
Frost not going to make this easy, absolutely, here. Hollyman having to work hard to have a chance to be able to get side by side. Battle of Chevys for the race lead, just past halfway a few laps ago. 57 laps to go down the stripe. A little bit of a bobble from Frost. Remember, the 96 has swung loose. Hollyman has the bottom open directly up, open wide. Blair Hollyman going for the lead.
Still will have to do it on the inside. Frost a little bit too high. Will still have a decent bit of momentum. Not a clear opportunity there for Hollyman, but will he just send it into the corner? Yes, he does. He should clear. He's got to go all the way up the track. Easy does it. Now Frost might try and fight back on the inside. Will he try? He takes a peek, takes a look. He's still there. Hollyman comes down the block. Good racing. Hey, do you see who's in behind right there? Oh, Andrew Teft.
Teff's done a good job closing up the gap with some 24-1s to the leader's 24-3s. Remember, Teff slightly fresher Goodyear Eagles also. The question will be, can Teff knock down the time to make this a very close battle here by the pit window? He, remember, dropped back a bit during the first run. It's been a good effort here in the second run to at least chip away, try and get himself up to second.
Now, I'll tell you this, JP. Within the next 5 laps, we should see Frost come down pit road to make good on his strategy, and I think it still is just marginally the winning call based on when he pit earlier in this race. So still, we have to see a race actually play out and see if the theoretical becomes what actually happens. Nonetheless, though, you see that stint, 43 laps, or lap 43 was when Frost came down pit road, a full 12 laps earlier and 15 laps earlier than Hollyman, and 14 laps earlier, excuse me, than Hollyman and Teft. Those two drivers are the others to beat in this race. And Frost is doing a great job of just hanging on and being in this fight right here. You will gain time when you do an undercut, and Frost has put himself in a position where, yes, he'll need to go a little bit longer on that final stint than anybody else, but the time he'll gain, I think, earlier on will play better than the time he loses in this exact moment.
Yep, this close-up doing very well. 50 laps to go. Heard some pit calls over the radio, or at least some sort of calls. It is indeed a pit call for Riley Frost. He is right on his schedule. This time going about 48 laps on the run. This is going to be the question. How far ahead does he get? I don't know if this is going to be the race-winning move here, Dylan, because the other drivers were able to close just so much up over the course of the run.
I gotta say, JP, I think this is the race-winning move right here. I do genuinely think that this undercut will be strong enough to close in. It's going to be very marginal, though. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to be wrong for once, you know? Not to be wrong, but to be surprised to be wrong. I won't be surprised. And I just think that Frost has shown his speed and shown his commitment to this strategy from the very beginning here. And I just like the way this looks.
Turn
he's spinning. Oh, no. We talk about the margins, and Frost just messed it all up. Will a caution come out? No.
He's still on the apron, still on the apron, still on the apron. Up to speed with grass on his tires. Wow. Riley Frost has thrown away any chance for the win here with no caution.
I don't know if that was an example of a commentator's curse, because I talked about, you know, we talk about the theoretical, right? You've got to be able to finish the job on the track. Frost, 1000% JP, just threw away his chance at a race victory and might have thrown away his shot at a podium finish by the end of this race. Now, we talked about how close the top three were. It was another 7 seconds or so to get back to 4th place. I think Riley lost more than 7 seconds with that little adventure right there. But what a shame for the driver of the 96.
At this point, this is what he is feeling. I was hoping the telestrator would pop up. It did not pop up on screen. I tried to draw a sad face. It didn't work.
Since when do you have how do you draw, wait, do you actually have a telestrator available?
It is a link. See? You can draw a sad face. You can draw a happy face.
Oh my gosh.
You can draw a circle. You can, oh my, this is gonna be Go Birds, isn't it? I knew this was coming.
Yes.
I mean,
perfectly placed between the two drivers on that camera shot, by the way.
You're doing this with the Bills truck, by the way, that's up in second within a second.
Oh man, Bills finishing second. Tails all this time. So 4 years of it. Wow, I'm really talking from a high horse, aren't I?
What? So we have 41 laps to go at the stripe, by the way, in terms of the race context. Teft is still about a tenth quicker than your race leader. However, their estimated window based on their strategy be in these next couple laps here. We're down to also 16 running on the racetrack, so not much lap traffic factor. But Teft needs to figure out a way to be in position here to close this gap to Hoyman, undercut, do something, anything, to be able to get this edge on the 32.
So something really interesting here that you also noted, we haven't really talked about the strategy from Andrew Teft tonight when it does come in comparison to Blair Hollyman, right? We've been focusing on Riley Frost for the vast majority of the night, but you're right, JP, it is time to focus on the driver of that 98 truck, and Teft has put himself always in winning positions over the course of this season, and this is another opportunity for Teft to win a race that he was not leading for the vast majority of, right? So this is the drive of somebody who is closing in on another championship in his hat for Racers Elite competition, and it comes at no surprise, right? The man is fast, and it's not just about being the fastest, it's about being the most consistent. Usually he is the most consistent.
Yeah, exactly. And right now the most consistent is truck 98, Alex Teft. Said he's coming up to pit road soon. So the 43's coming in, the 98 might respond soon. So the team strategy for Chicken Coop Racing seems to be about now for some drivers. Will this spark Andrew in to undercut Blair Hoyman to try and take the race lead? The pivotal time here, we'll have to keep an eye on pit road.
I wonder how much of an advantage this will be. He was not all that close compared to, you know, the very marginal situation we were seeing with Riley Frost and company. But this does put others on a little bit of a watch alert, right? Because we're getting later in this run, and they still all have to come down pit road. I wonder if now they're just holding off on the inevitability of a potential caution to come, right? Because there's really not that much competition compared to, well, I spoke to early, look who's coming down pit road, the brother of the 43, the 98, Andrew Teft.
I want to look at the replay, though, because normally you pit off turn 4 here in Iowa. He pitted into turn 3. He might have just cost himself 1 to 2 seconds.
That would be absolutely detrimental. And Blair Hollyman has come down pit road, immediately responded. So, wow, that is another big mistake, and a very small mistake, I should say. Not a big mistake, a small mistake that could have big consequences for the rest of this race. It could have just equalized the thing we were just talking about as we see the replay of how big the undercut actually is.
Yeah, you can't pit there. You need a pit right about there.
Yes, I agree with you. I don't think it was the worst amount of time. I do think that undercut being at around 0.8 of a second to a second just was wiped away right there. So with Hollyman coming down the next lap, wouldn't surprise me to see their gap right now be very similar to where they were when we initially came in. And that's exactly what it is right now. It looks like a second on our screens.
So Andrew Teft, despite the early pit call in terms of where he accessed pit road, does get the jump for the net race lead by 7 truck lengths. 32 to go, and now the hope is it stays green, so they can just battle it out from there. We'll see if Andrew Teft can get himself a 4th win on the season here. Now it's going to be about the raw pace. We know how good he was on the long run here, Andrew Teft, to the last run. Last time by, it was quicker for him than Hollyman on near equal tires here, although Hollyman is just now getting out of traffic.
All right, so that's another thing to keep in mind here. Traffic will play a big part of who's going to win this race. Hollyman up into the wall, pushed way too tight on the exit of turn 4. Mind you, this is the hardest that these drivers can push these tires all race long so far. They have not had to go just simply 35, 36, 37 laps to the end of this race. So you'll see them both pushing. Oh, a big wiggle right there before we cut to Thomas from the driver of the 32. Blair Hollyman was all sorts of out of shape.
Yep, right now, things are getting a little nerve-wracking for some on the push. Lap traffic, Curtis Ecker moves out of the way. Those drivers were for position for now, but Ecker is on 54 lap older tires compared to the race leaders at the moment. Oh, and Hollyman just had to slam on the brakes off the gas as well. He nearly hit the 8 and just made sure to get off the throttle.
This has been an adventure from hell right now for Blair Hollyman. He tried to respond to Andrew Teft, and he did a pretty solid job of coming in the lap after. I would have thought that Hollyman would be ahead of Teft due to that undercut kind of being negated by where Teft went down pit road. Jesse Fox now down into pit road. So Teft and Hollyman at the moment, second and third. Brandon Sanfilippo probably can go another 6 or so laps, 6 or 7, on this fuel tank that he's got going for him right now. But once he does go down pit road, this is the race for the lead. It is the race for the lead, just provisionally.
Yeah, and right now, Brandon Sanfilippo's just come on down after 58 laps to give them the race lead on the racetrack. So this is now for the win. Hollyman is pushing very hard to be able to get back to that bumper quick. 26 laps to go once they come up to the stripe this time by for the race leaders here. So how do you approach this once you get there for Hollyman? Because it's not the matter of if, it's when, with what he's doing, knocking the time down.
Oh, look how hard Hollyman is pushing right now. He's getting so tight through the middle of the corner, and then Smith is right there. Not Smith, it's Sanfilippo, who just pitted. It's just right there. Lets them go by, but he's going to try and catch back up. He doesn't want to be a lap down.
Yeah, nobody wants to be lapped down here, but the top two have what is a massive cushion over the next truck. 9 seconds up over Kirby Wainscott, who has to pit. Raleigh Frost lost 10 seconds as a result of his mistake to these two. That's how big him having that slide just put him to detriment in the first place. They do have a sea of lap traffic ahead, though, that they're going to have to deal with pretty quickly. Acker, Alex Teft, Yost Jr., Jesse Fox all are up the racetrack and are all running different lines.
Oh man, this is an intense end to this honestly entertaining race that has gone green all the way so far, as we're on lap 118 of, or I should say 119 of 140, coming to 21 laps to go. You're right, it is a sea of traffic just ahead of these two competitors. Who's going to use them to their advantage?
It's going to be nerve-wracking here. Coming to 20 laps to go. Hollyman needs points to chip away the gap. He's picked up a lot of lead laps in position right now for the most lead laps. That's an air bonus point. Fastest lap as well, but that's an air bonus point. But right now, Teft looking to fire off his own chances here to keep the top spot and try and add to his championship legacy here in the series. All these drivers still have 19 to go. Teft looking to try and be a 3-time in a row champion and start off the chase on the right foot, while Hoyman still looking for his first title since season 5.
Man, this is exciting. This is good racing action. And honestly, this track has, we haven't seen so much side-by-side racing. You have to make it work. For a move to get done here, you have to put in the work. You've got to be sweating a little bit. And I'll tell you what, these two drivers absolutely are sweating it out to end this race. Hollyman tries to go deep on corner entry, rolls pretty well in the exit of the corner, and Teft has to go down the block and take away that line. Oh, there's lap traffic up ahead. Hollyman goes high, tries to split the middle, almost got into the back of not just the lap traffic, but Teft himself, and he loses a few truck lengths. Oh, man!
Yeah, that's a little bit of trouble, and still is some. Now the Zulio's racing machine picks bottom. Hoyman trying to take the air off Teft's spoiler. Yost Jr. remains to the bottom of the racetrack. Now Blair Hoyman thinks 3 wide with his teammate.
Oh, no!
That was near dangerous, and Hoyman pushes high. Really slides the rear tires off the corner exit also, as he tries to get some clean air on the nose.
Oh man, this is some good racing, high octane action. Hollyman way dirt tracking it on the exit of 4. We're not too far from Knoxville, but we are not at Knoxville. We're in Newton, Iowa, and Hollyman is doing everything he can to try and get past the current points leader, the current championship leader in the first of 4 chase races.
Oh, up at the wall, Hollyman scrapes the quarter panel. Did he damage the truck? Don't believe so. Did cost himself a lot of time, Sanfilippo, trying to get his lap back at all of this too, mind you. So an extra bit of a layer to that proverbial battle onion all forming out here. Hoyman really losing ground here all of a sudden. It's really washing up compared to what the arc is from Teft.
I mean, right now he's overdriving it. He's way overdriving it. He was, in my opinion, the faster truck and might still be the faster truck. But Andrew Teft is just that wily driver, right? He's cool, calm, collected. He doesn't really put a foot wrong most of the time, even when he's coming down into the pits, right? He was a little bit cautious, but he made sure he got down pit road, not having to risk putting a foot wrong. It's all about the consistency. Teft, any race, is a top 5 driver on outright speed, but where he excels is just being able to be consistent. Hollyman rides the apron on corner entry. That's not consistent enough. That's more time lost. As they go by, that's a 10th and a half that he just lost to Andrew Teft.
Yeah, this is not good. Hoyman, I think, might have burned up his stuff here, Dylan. He needs a caution to have an air chance to reset. Try to get a short run down. But 10 laps to go. Now he's really pinning it.
Yeah, this is going from bad to worse right now for Blair Hollyman. A second back of Andrew Teft. My, oh my, not good enough. By the way, remember when the whole story was Riley Frost potentially giving himself a chance to win and then binning it and putting himself in a bad spot? Well, he was running in 3rd. Now he has fallen back to 5th and is trying desperately to get further up the top 5. Sean Dunaway, we talked about his adventure earlier in the race with his spin, his self-spin, that didn't bring out a caution. It was so early in the race, 120 laps to go when he did that on lap 20. And guess what? He's up into 4th with an opportunity to get back on the podium. This, again, is this idea of a champion's drive, right? Where something goes wrong and still you stick with it, you stay fast, and that's exactly what he's doing. Here's the unfortunate thing. Teft winning makes it a 5-point upwards, a 5-point buffer from 1st to 2nd, right? 40, 35, 34, 33. Those are how the points go from 1st to 4th. that's going to be tough to beat if it does come down to within a 5-point difference by the time this season ends.
Right now, the championship going to be filled with question marks, absolutely. Remember, we still have 3 other races to score points in throughout this campaign. A part of a busy season of chases going on for Racers Elite at the moment. You have Charlotte, you have Kansas, you have Five Flags amongst that upcoming schedule of 105, 105, 160 respectively. So these drivers have to be able to execute on the short tracks apart 2 of the 4 races in the championship in general. Under 5 laps to go now. Most of the field is separated out. Gates and Dunaway the closest battle, but Gates still up by 5 truck lengths. And Andrew Teft just 4 laps away from home.
It's just been that consistency and that steadfastness for Andrew Teft. Just has to make sure he maintains his 2.5 advantage right here. He can take his foot off the throttle a little bit earlier into the corners and he'd be fine. He also has a lapped truck in front of his competition, who is still sliding it into the corners, trying everything he can to overturn this massive deficit he has put himself in. It's just not going to happen. The only thing that would help, you know what I'm going to say, JP, is a caution in the next lap and a half.
It'd be extremely helpful at this point for some of the drivers, but what's not talking into existence here. Everyone at this pace has been able to keep it green the entire run here at Iowa. Just about 1 hour straight of racing without any sort of incident outside of a couple slides. Dunaway, still not in position for the podium, is closing, but it's just about out of time. We're already coming up to the white flag this time by. One more time around, this time through for Teft. Dunaway will need to go for a massive lunge if he wants to take away a point from the 77.
Oh, he's sliding out on the exit of 4.
All this is with your race lead. Just about done. Andrew Teft is coming out of turn 4. Keeps it low, takes the celebration. Once again, Andrew Teft, a winner, your series leader in victories, gets his first win since August 12.
It being 5+ weeks since he's been down victory lane is unbelievable, honestly. He's just so consistent. He's up there all the time, and this is just another example of it. Andrew Teft, a very popular person, of course, in this league, getting a few bumps from his competitors. It's a well-earned, cool, calm, collected victory, and he burns it down just past the start-finish line.
Big celebration for Truck 98. Your series points leader for the start of the chase adds on to it. With the victory here tonight, getting 35 lead laps on the way to a checkered flag. So as Andrew Teft burns it on down, we'll let him celebrate. Coming up, post-race coverage. You're watching Maconi Entertainment for coverage of Racers Elite, the Family Traditions RV Rentals Fixed Truck Series.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Iowa Speedway for tonight's coverage of Racers Elite after what was a green to checkered race in the Family Traditions RV Rentals Fixed Truck Series. Andrew Temp picks up his first win in about a month, gets it done over Blair Hoyman and Alex Gates. Sean Dunaway, Riley Frost get top fives. Frost had a chance for the win, but spun on his clean tires and put himself down the order. Taft, Sanfilippo, Lama Thomas, Yost Jr., and Hoke, the top 10.
Continuing down the order, Curtis Ecker finishes in 11th with Jesse Fox, both lap down. Kirby Wayne Scott in 13th. Everybody else had major problems over the course of the race. Frank Chavez, Barry Nelson, Kensley Smith, and Kyle Hess. There were 17 drivers in the field tonight. Man, poor Hess truck showing for sure. That makes me sad, JP.
So it's on to bottom of the running order here tonight. Andrew Teft comes away as the victor here tonight. Your first win since August the 12th. Andrew, first things first, how does it feel starting off the chase with a victory?
Yeah, that was nice. Nice clean racing all night. Had a lot of good battles. Wasn't sure how it was going to play out with the pit strategy. The tires, I don't know, there wasn't a huge advantage for going long or going short or vice versa, but yeah, that was a workout. First being 140 green flag laps, and then the tight battle with Blair the entire time. So kind of worn out.
Yeah, I was going to say, where did you find that extra speed over the course of the race? Because at first it seemed like you're slipping back, but as this run went on, the race went on, it seemed like it gets stronger and stronger.
If I had to guess, I think Blair was pushing off the corners a little bit more than I was. I was really trying to focus on staying patient in the centers and being patient about getting back to the gas. And when I did, to do so pretty lightly. I noticed when I was running him down, he seemed to be pushing up toward the walls quite a bit more than I was. So long run was my strength, and when I ran him down for that, just before that second pit stop, rather than battle him, I jumped on pit road and just tried to leapfrog him, and it worked out pretty good. I think it seems like the dirty air kind of affected him too as he got behind me, and eventually he kind of just fell off, and I kind of just make laps to the end.
What's the approach going to be now going to Charlotte once again, like we did for the race in the preseason prior to the start of the campaign?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite tracks. The whole league is pretty tight there, so it's almost like a Daytona race or something. Sometimes kind of easy to get caught up in something, but I do enjoy the track. It's got a lot of character, and it's just fun to ride around, even if you're by yourself. So yeah, just gonna try to stay consistent. I've got a nice little buffer back to second now, and my teammate happens to be behind me, so that'll be interesting. But it's nice to have a little bit of space going into the last few races here.
Any shows you'd like to give here tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys in the booth. I want to thank our servicemen and women, friends, family, team, everybody that tunes in to watch, shows up to race. I've got a whole bunch of events and new series, new seasons coming up. So if you're interested in competing or watching more races, just check us out on racerselite.com. You can find all of our info there, schedule, standings, Discord invites, our store, the whole 9 yards, social media places like Facebook and everything. But yeah, and just want to thank Blair for running me clean there. That was a lot of fun.
Congratulations on the run here tonight, Andrew.
Thanks, host.
Andrew Teft comes away with the win here tonight. Second goes to Blair Hoyman. The gambler is with Dylan.
Yeah, Blair, it was a really solid showing from both you and Andrew tonight. I know Riley was right in the mix as well until he had a small mistake on his final stop, or at least coming out of it. Nonetheless, it feels like you seemed like the faster truck. You had the faster truck in that final stint. Was it overdriving it that led to this second place finish and maybe not a victory lane?
When I noticed I had 10 seconds back of, I was 10 seconds ahead of Gates, is the idea for me is like, well, if I can get around Teft, cool. And if I can't get around Teft, oh well, I'm finishing second. There ain't no way I'm finishing third. I'll take the second most amount of points, get on out of there. This chase thing is pretty much get all the points you can, and I ain't taking any risk. I don't need to.
Now, in saying that, does any of the thought process of, well, there's 17 drivers in the field, and the only time where there is that 5-point buffer between two positions is first to second. I'm not exactly sure the math right now, but obviously Andrew takes that +5 over anybody else, including yourself, obviously, in this field tonight. Going forward, what is the strategy? If you're in this situation again and say it's next week and Andrew's in P1, would you try a little bit harder? Would you get the elbows out a little bit more?
With it going to two of the tracks that naturally I'm pretty good on at speed, I don't think I really need to get the elbows out. It's just race smart. With it being Charlotte and Kansas, those are tracks that I'm pretty good at on pace, and I usually don't make many mistakes in the sense of I'm going to run somebody over. It's like if someone's faster than you, let them go. You know you're going to get them on the backhand side of things. But when it's these four races, pretty much to me, it's race for the points as much as you can. The race tracks that you got a shot to get a win at, like Charlotte and Kansas, are two of the tracks that I consider I got a really good shot at. I'm definitely give my best attempt. I just don't want to make any unnecessary moves, especially on a short track, because if I dump Teft here and we go to 5 flags, it's going to be pretty hard not to assume that I'm going to end up out in the grass at some point. But you race him clean, and now I'm not going to get ran over when the time comes, Tef, pretty much, if you race him clean, he races you clean back. But you race him dirty, it gets pretty bad. He'll get even with you, which is to be expected. You race someone clean, you'll get it back. And if you race somebody dirty, they're going to put you on hauler. So it's definitely a lot to think about as you have these 3 more races coming up.
Fair enough. Fair point indeed. What I'm seeing right now, by the way, in some unofficial standings here, you really minimized actually any shot of not of not getting the bonus points here. It seems like you only lost 2 points because you got 3 bonus points tonight with not just the fastest lap, but the most laps led, I believe this is showing right now, and of course a lap led. So you only come out of this 2 points, down compared to where. So I think it's 14 points back, maybe 12 points back. I'm not sure what the numbers look like. So it does give you a really solid opportunity going forward. So congrats once again, and I'm going to give you the stage. Thank who you want to thank for your performance tonight, Blair.
Yeah, tonight, a couple people on the truck. Of course, Macco Tools on the side. Always got to give a shout out to my tool guy, Roy Salisbury. On the hood, we got Hob and Dappa Auto Parts. Want to give a shout out to my cousin Tad. I know my dad himself is watching. I hope he was entertained with some short track racing. Uh, Definitely not a bad way to kick off the 28th year going around the sun. So it is. It's been a good week so far. It's just keep the momentum up as we had the next 3 races ahead.
Birthday today?
Birthday was yesterday.
Heck yeah, Blair. Congrats. Happy birthday. 28. Man, I'll be 27 next Wednesday. So we got some fun birthday celebrations always planned.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun one for you.
For sure. Blair Hollyman, second place. Congratulations.
Hey guys, you have a good one.
All right. Appreciate it. JP, I probably ran that question session a little bit too extended, but it's now your turn. Let's see how far you can extend this conversation with Alex Gates.
Okay. So, Alex Gates comes away in third spot tonight. 10 seconds back of the leader. How would you describe your truck in as much excruciating detail as you can?
I mean, the truck felt fine. It was pretty tight going through the middle of both sets of turns. I was able to enter the turns perfectly fine. It got tight there in the middle, and I do like a weird plop on the throttle essentially, and it would send the rear end around and get me to be able to continue on throughout the corner.
You ended up gaining 8 spots as this race went on. How would you describe the difficulty to be able to make your way through the pack and be able to get yourself on the right tire cycle to be able to then make said passes to move up?
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. I mean, everybody in this field is challenging. They have their different lanes, especially with the new pavement that they put on the track. You can kind of run the middle, you can run the bottom, and then if you're crazy enough, you can run the top. I saw 1 or 2 lapped cars making it work. If you're able to stay close to the field in the beginning of the race, I would say within the first 10, 15 laps while the tires are still fresh and not burning, as long as you position yourself right, you can make the pass work. But when everybody kind of started getting even and you started seeing like the high 23s, low 24s times, lap times coming in, it was kind of a challenge because it was very stagnant and you had to find just the little milliseconds or half a second or whatever just to get to the car in front of you. And now you got to figure out how to pass them because they don't want to lose that position. So I'm glad I was able to work through the field. Had a bad qualifying, but was able to get it done tonight. So,
So on that note here, next up is going to be Charlotte. Your approach for Charlotte Motor Speedway.
I'm gonna do a lot of practicing on that one. I have like a love-hate relationship with Charlotte. I'm either doing pretty good, I'll run in the top 5, maybe get a top 3, or I'm just struggling and get collected in everybody's mess. So I'm gonna try to do a lot of practice and try my best to stay clean, race everybody else clean, because I mean nobody wants to cause a mess or be a part of a mess. So we'll see. It's kind of a toss-up. It's 50-50. It's kind of like I think Charlotte is Talladega. You never know what's going to happen.
So on that note, anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Yeah, on the car, on the hood, you see the Hunter Lopez Foundation. I want to give them a huge shout out for allowing me to run this paint scheme. I know it means a lot to Mr. and Mrs. Lopez, as well as I want to give a shout out to my family for dealing with me doing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then to Andrew and Racers Elite for being able to allow us to come in here and do something at night for the guys that like to race and everything like that and be clean and just have a good time. I really like this group.
Congratulations on the run here tonight, Alex.
Thank you.
Alex Gates taking the time to speak with us here. I'd like to thank the entire top 3 for speaking with us for our post-race coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. What are your final thoughts tonight, Dylan, as we get ready to go 1.5 mile racing for 2 weeks straight?
I thought it was a great race. You know, sometimes you have these green flag races with few cars, few trucks that finish on the lead lap, and they're just boring. That was not this. This had a little bit of strategy at play, and multiple drivers who had an opportunity to win this race, besides just 1 or 2. Would have loved to see if Riley Frost didn't have that mistake on his outlap, but nonetheless had a great battle to the end of this race. And Andrew Teft, Mr. Consistency, wins his first time in over 5 weeks. So excited with the way this went. Excited for next weekend, or I should say next week, next Tuesday night at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 3 races to go. Let's end it with a bang.
Again, September 30th, the date, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time start. Catch that here on Maconi Entertainment. On that note, it's time to say goodbye. I'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's coverage here on Maconi Entertainment. Calling the action itself was Justin Prince alongside Dylan Coyle. Our producer was Christian Hill. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's racing action. Hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for their work in bringing this racing to you. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.